Good morning, dear viewer. Good morning, dear viewer. This is Thursday, and when it's Thursday on the Morning Glory Show, it's a day to talk about family and relationship. Of course, when we talk about family and relationship, then it is everything that pertains our social being. And today, our topic would be how do we battle drug addiction? And so with me are two gentlemen who will help us go through this topic. We have George with us, and also we have Reverend Rono with us. But then before we go there, make sure that you share the broadcast. If you're already in the broadcast, like the broadcast, invite your friends to watch the broadcast, because as I have always told you, we disseminate knowledge here that we would really want everyone in our community today to actually get to benefit from it. So make sure that you tag as many friends as possible. Tell me where you tuned in from. Let's engage. Let's talk to each other. Let's learn from each other. Remember that the more you engage, the better your chances of winning a cake courtesy of Red Royal Cake House. So cheza kama wewe, ukifika pale kwa comment section, tag marafiki wako, and make sure that we are having this particular conversation. Just to give you a little brief about today's conversation, did you know that children as early as the age of 4 are already experimenting on drugs? If you didn't know that, then also did you know that actually currently in Kenya, then drug and substance abuse is one of the biggest cause of people maybe dropping out of jobs. People, it is a menace that is affecting almost every sector. Recently, somebody told me that actually they were even battling with some of the men in cloth are battling with drug addiction and drug and substance addiction. And so today we just want to jump into this particular conversation. So I'll go directly and invite George to just introduce himself and tell us a little bit about himself. So George, karibu sana.
Asante sana. My name's George, and I'm a recovering addict. Okay. Basically, the reason why we're here today is to share. And the reason I personally share my experiences is because this was a gift that I got from God. And one funny thing with this gift that I got, to keep it, I have to share it. And I personally believe in sharing because it helps. There are those who are out there suffering and maybe have given up thinking that there's no way out, as in he's in and that's it. That's the way he's going to go out of this world. But no. There's a way you can turn it around and live a sober life and live a normal life. And that's why I stand here today to share my experiences so that I can give hope to others who are out there suffering and prove to them that I'm a living example that you can make it out and become a normal person in society and give back to society.
Okay, actually saying that you can live a sober life. Make sure that you actually tune into this conversation because it is going to be an interesting one. With us also is Reverend Rono. Reverend Rono actually runs, what do you call it? It is called a recovery center. What do you call it? It is... Okay, I know the name, but I'm forgetting the actual name for it. So, Rev, actually introduce yourself and also give us the name. It is called Haven Recovery Center. It is a rehabilitation center. The name was just skipping my mind, but he runs a rehabilitation center called Haven. So, Rev, karibu sana. Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you very much. Have you heard my name? That is my name, Rono. I run a rehab called Haven Recovery Center. I've been in this field of helping people who are really struggling with alcoholism for 22 years. And also, I also share the same with George, who is with me here today. I also recover from the same addiction. So I'm not ashamed to say I'm a recovering reverend from addictions. So I'm pleased to be here today to keep hope to the people who are listening to us through this media.
Okay, actually now, Rev also telling us that actually he was once there. So they've both been there. So I'll go back to George and tell him to give us his part of the story. George, how was it growing up? How did you end up actually abusing drugs?
Okay, one thing I can say is that in life, no one is born wanting to become an addict. But there are choices you make in life as you grow up that unknowingly they contribute to you ending up being an addict. And basically there are 3 core things. And I think Reverend huwa anazifundishanga katika program zake. We talk of playthings, playmates, and playgrounds.
Yeah.
Playthings, what do you handle when you're growing up?
Exactly.
See someone who grows up in an environment where you handle drugs, alcohol, mara umeshika shisha, mara umeshika miraa, mara umeshika nini, you'll end up using the playthings. Playmates, the people you hang around with. And the playgrounds, the areas you hang around with.
Exactly.
So for us, when we were growing up, I went to a very good school. And the funny thing, I also think again, I always refer to Reverend, because Reverend amepitia, anaifunza. First and foremost, taka mjue kwamba addiction is not a disease for the poor.
Right.
It's not a disease for the rich. It's not a disease for the educated and uneducated. It's not a disease for the people who've been brought up in Christian backgrounds or religious backgrounds. It affects anyone so long as you let your guard down. So for us, when I started, it started off when we were young, as early as Form 1, in a day school. Given that in a day school, you have that opportunity to mingle and go out, unlike when you're in a boarding school whereby your environment is a bit restricted. So what started out as fun, over years, ended up becoming a menace and a problem to me. Because the moment you become an addict, you cannot handle relationships, you cannot handle your financial responsibilities. As in any responsibilities that you have, you are not able to meet them. So it went on, it progresses slowly. And as it progresses, alongside it comes a defense mechanism,
Right.
whereby you're always out to justify what you do. Ukiulizwa, jana mbona ulikunywa sana? Nilikuwa na pressure. Hiyo pressure ni justification. Because kuna mwingine ana pressure na hakunywi, anatatua vitu zake tu. He just goes down, sits down, maybe says a prayer to God and seeks God's wisdom to enable him to sort out these issues. But now psychologically you've conditioned your mind that the only way I'll get peace when I'm under pressure is I get a bottle or I get a tot or nikunywe jug, those things. Because it's also, again, may normally say addiction is a disease that lies in between our ears. It all has to do with your thinking, the attitudes you have towards life. As an addict, the attitude you have towards life is that I will only make it through when I'm high. And an addict, now it depends. You're high on what? Alcohol. Some will tell you weed, some will tell you heroin, some will have, kila mtu ana drug yake. Kila mtu ana drug yake of choice. So it's just a conditioning of the mind. But I thank God, because funny thing, na hiyo ulevi yangu yote, my mother is a stoned Christian. From the day I was born to death, she sings in the choir. From the day I was born to death, she sings in the choir. She's a canon as I talk. She prayed. She prayed and prayed and prayed. And even today when he goes, anaambia watu, you guys have ever seen miracles in life? Me, mine, I've seen it. Mine, actually, I work with it. Do you? Because they don't believe. No one ever thought that 12 years ago, George would be able to leave without drinking. Because I loved the bottle, man. I loved it. I would work hard, yes. Brilliant ideas, make money. But the problem is, pesa ikiingia tu, allocation ya pombe ni ngapi ni nyinyi.
Ushaipea allocation yake.
Ilikuwa na float hiyo. There was no discussion about it. Ilikuwa na float yake. Yo ukishika vita, you are playing with my emotions.
Unasema afadhali ucheze na rent lakini sio pesa ya.
Rent. Okay, one thing I thank God. Nilikuwa nakumbukanga Mungu, nasema asante Mungu nimepata.
So 10% ya Mungu alafu ya pombe.
Ya Mungu napatia, kama ni birthday unampea yake, it's a shopping you do it. In the house you sure you've done 1 2. The rest sasa piga ropa. And as I was saying, there's a defense mechanism but don't justify. Sasa hii pesa yote niko nayo nisipokunywa kuna mtu anafanya kazi bro. Atasomeshaje watu? Acha nikunywe tu. So as I was saying, it comes along with a defense mechanism. Right. You're always justifying the actions. You drink, kesho ukiulizwa, mbona ulikunywa? But I know it's stress. Nilikuwa nafurahia maisha but amanaambia nisipokunywa wewe unataka watu wanafanya Kenya Breweries walipwaje mshahara? Wow,
so nisipokunywa watu wa Kenya Breweries watapataje mshahara?
Reverend will concur with me.
Okay, let me go back to Reverend. Of course, we'll be going back to George. But then if you're in the comment section, by the way, actually if you are even right now battling with drug addiction, feel free kuingia pale kwa comments, engage with us. Let's know actually that let's engage in this particular broadcast. Utuambie experience yako pia. If you know somebody who is struggling with addiction, tell them actually they can learn from this particular. We have 2 people on the set who already wote wawili wamaijikuta kwa hii menace ya drugs. So trust you me, this is the right place for you. Kama uko pale kwenye comments, I'll be sampling some of your comments in a few minutes. So make sure that you talk to us. Make sure that you're the one who walks away with the cake today. Let me talk to Rev. Rev, now give us your journey. First of all, start now that you've said also you've been there before. How was it for you?
Well, I think this thing is, as my brother is saying, is a disease. It's a really disease that really destroys. It is actually alcoholism is a thief, because as my brother is sharing about his experience, you can realize this thing is not only for the poor, it's not only for the education. That is actually very true. And the reason why most people are really using drugs is some people we might say people because they are people are poor, but you find somebody who is working. Does it really mean that someone has to be poor so that it can drink alcohol? Then that is no. So when we say this thing is a thief, it's a thief that can really destroy the life of the people who are really potential in the society. This thing, I began my drinking not because somebody has really taught me about it. It's a long time ago, my dad, my mom also they were all alcoholism, and both my siblings. And the alcohol was really being brewed, local brewed in our home. So actually we learn. I can say also culture contribute a lot. Because when I was growing up, that's when I began to taste the first alcohol, and really I felt it was so nice because I liked the effects of alcohol. And from 10, I never quit again. It just hooked me, and I continue with it. It took me time to overcome or to quit. It really took a lot of time until 1985, December 26. I still remember that day. Actually, that was the day I made a decision at the right. And if you had me now, the Reverend, I always look my 26th of December 1985 when I say today I've really decided. And it's not because I did alone. There were some people who really came to me, and I was accountable to them. And we journeyed with them for 6 months, and I overcome alcoholism. And that's why I'm giving hope to the society. I'm here to tell people this disease is a disease that is curable. Ni ile ugonjwa ambaye inatibiwa. It's not a permanent. Provided people they get that confidence. You know the problem about this alcoholism, when someone has engaged with alcoholism, he develops what we call denial. And denial is a biggest disease, even not even alcohol. When someone has really, after that spirit of having denial, now that issue of trying to justify, I'm drinking not because I'm just wanted to feel I'm in the society. Someone also like youth now in the society, is actually some of them, they wanted just to test it so they can have confidence even to talk to the girls. Okay. Yeah.
And okay, maybe we'll be coming to the process of addiction and how people get into these things. I think I'll be going back to George.
Whatever that this says is...
I'll be going back to George. For Rev says he woke up one day and said, I'll never drink again. But then even in the comment section, naona kuna mtu anasema for them, they usually go, anasema, this will be my last bottle.
Yeah, right.
But then they still go back to it. Anasema, anakunywa, akishalewa, anasema, lakini walai, hii ya leo ni ya mwisho, sitaikunywa tena. A few days again, asharudi hapo. How was the process for you and the decision making that now I need to start this before even going to the rehab?
So, okay, for me, actually, okay, as Rev said, he woke up and he was helped by people. Me, mine was on the 20th of April, 2010. Mbuka hiyo siku tu, I just went out, did my things, got my money. I came to a pub, sat at the corner, and I just asked the lady, unanidai pesa yote? Kanaambia George, nakudai hivi na hivi na hivi. Nikalipa, ambia patiwa 2 zako, wewe chukua. Mimi nikachukua kwa tangu, nikakaa kwa kona. Told him get for me credit for 100. I loaded credit. So now before that, I'd been to psychiatrists. I used to pay for a session. By then I was paying 1,500 to sit down with the psychiatrist. The psychiatrist would take a piece of paper and ask me, George, hii pombe unakunywa nini? And I'd tell him, mimi nakunywa starehe. Akaniambia hapana, lakini sasa imefika shida pako umekuja kwangu. So the visits to the psychiatrist, and I'd go to church, get some counseling, eventually helped me make a decision. And I remember on the 28th of April 2010, that was the last day I had my last drink. Actually, nilikunywa tu ya mwisho. And that time as I was drinking, I just took the phone and made a call to my mother, and I told her, hey mom, unajuaje? Kesho asubuhi tukiamka saa 12.
Nishawacha.
Tuende rehab. Akaniuliza, lakini George, uko sure? Hautaamka asubuhi uende kutoa hizo malok zako unaendanga kutoa asubuhi? Niambia siendi. I drank my booze. I didn't tell anyone. I just called my mom, I called my sister, and I called my auntie. Because actually these 3 people were really on the forefront of encouraging me to stop. So I told them, guys, tomorrow we go to the rehab. I even told them I had my own money because I'd even done scouting. I'd asked how much rehabs cost. I had the cash with me. And I told them tomorrow in the morning we are going. And come the 29th of April 2010, in the morning, 6 o'clock, there I was. I woke up early, packed my bags, even made breakfast. Akiamka ananipata mimi naangalia tu news niko na remote. Sasa George niache, naambia si tunaenda ama mlisemaje? And I couldn't believe. But I remember parting shot before I went to rehab, my mom told me, George, if you are going to the rehab, hata hiyo pesa yako usilipe, weka kando, sisi tunakulipia. Lakini ukitoka na urudi ukunywe, ujue mahali utaenda kuishi. And when we went to the rehab, actually, because the rehabilitation process, normally there's a rehab, then there's a halfway house. I just told my counselor, please, nipatie tu hiyo halfway house tu. Nikae tu miezi 3. Nisiporekebika, nitupe ndani ya rehab miezi 6. And I went into the halfway house, and 3 months down the line, there I was. I finished the program. I did 90 days of meetings. Actually, those were 3 months. For 3 months, I did not work. I just used to wake up in the morning, go for meetings, participate from 10 to around 1. After 1 o'clock, I'd come home, eat lunch, sleep in the afternoon. 4 o'clock, wake up, have tea, watch a movie. 9 o'clock, eat and sleep. That was my program for 3 good months after rehab. And ever since, because by then I did my program in Mombasa. So when I moved to Eldoret, they would call me and ask me, George, you know you're in a different environment.
Unaweza kuwa umeanza?
Umeanza? Ambia, no, man.
Okay.
I've held on to it, and it wasn't easy, it wasn't hard, but it's all by the grace of God.
Okay, I know we'll actually be coming
problem,
there. Let me just sample some of the feedback you're getting here. And by the way, you can always participate in this conversation in the comment section. Mildred Sum saying she's tuned in, tagging along. Kim Slavin, good morning. Let's also see Bethwell Kiplagat, Beth saying locked in kama one on one from Nandi County. Thank you so much, Bethwell. Dixon Magut saying leo niko rada vibaya sana, sijawahi kula cake. Mtu anabehave aje ndiye akule cake. Actually, if you want to eat the cake, make sure that unaingia pale kwa comment section na unachangamka vibaya sana. Make sure that you participate in the conversation. Let's know what you think about today's conversation. Let's keep encouraging each other, because as they said, then actually leaving drugs is not a one person thing. It involves the community, it involves the people around you and all that. Ambassador Alfred Sargent saying, all the way from Australia, saying drug and alcohol is becoming a menace. It's unfortunate that most people glorify how they are drinking habits. Actually, ni kawaida siku hizo nasikia mtu anasema, jana mimi nilikunywa bwana. Mimi nakwambia nilimaliza mzinga jana nikaongeza ingine. And actually I'll be talking about that in this particular broadcast. Then I think Beth Mildred Sum saying, okay, I think tagging somebody there. Thank you so much. Kim Slavin, thank you so much. She's saying good morning. Good morning to you. Vivian, thank you so much for being part of this particular broadcast. We also have Tol Amo saying, okay, thank you so much, Tol Amo, for being with us. I'm seeing who else is here. Chepleting Birir saying she's also here with us. There is Engineer Caleb Tanui. Thank you so much, saying tuned in live from Rescos. Dixon anasema MC Kalia Kangara utaacha leo. Mimi sikuangi hapa bana. Stop accusing me falsely. Actually, ingia hapo kwa comment section, tell us about people tell us about your experiences, and also give us solutions in your own way. How do you think we can overcome the menace of drug abuse? The question today is, how do you think we can overcome the menace of drug abuse? So how do you think we can fight the whole thing, actually? Because before we come to addiction, then of course you must start from somewhere. How do you think we can sort out this mess in our community today? My next question then, because both of you have been to actually run a rehabilitation center, so I'll be coming to you. What actually happens at a rehabilitation center? Nini ufanyika kule?
Well, the first thing we should also know before we come to the line of treatment, and this is very good, and it's good for the youths and everyone who is really affected, get to understand. Because the first point, number one, someone has to realize that I'm really having a problem. And this is, as we have said, we've touched the issue about the diseases. Alcoholism is a disease. But now you see most of the youths, because I want also to share a bit about the youths. Most of the youth are really, most of them above 18 years and above, they are really doing experimental. You know, experimental is like when the paint has been painted like this pill I'm seeing here. and you are telling somebody don't touch, everyone would like to touch, even though he knows that he's been given instruction, don't touch. Everyone wants to touch. And then you wonder what's happening. So in the society that we are living in at the moment, youths are really in a problem of the experimental, whereby we really need to address these things very seriously. Because that is where the beginning of the dropout in universities, in colleges, even in high schools. Because you see somebody who is 18 years is doing the experimental, and some of them are already addicts. And the issue is about how are we going to help our society to come out from this thing. Number one, I think also the family has to come together and also speak about this thing openly. You know, it's unless we do this sensitization in our churches, in our meetings, wherever in Barasas. You know, sometimes we say we condemn people who are really drinking alcohol until now people they cannot speak openly. But we need to show these things is something that is possible for everyone to quit. It's not a permanent thing in the body of human being. It is something that people can really decide and talk about it and talk in love. Love is a solution whereby I understand why I quit alcohol. Someone has been talking to me with a lot of love. Mm-hmm. So when that decision came into my mind, nikajua kumbe nahitaji kweli hii upendo. When I was trying to approach that love, kumbe ikakuwa ni upendo ya kunichange. So one thing I would want to say is that we really need to talk as a family. Like me, every time I talk to my children about it, they know that I recovered from addiction. I don't fear to tell my children, I don't fear to tell the society, I don't fear to tell the bishops and the pastors. Because some of them are handling their problems, but they don't know how to. Even pastors are suffering. The Christian families, I'm telling you, my brother, they are really in denial. Even when the child, hata kama mtoto yake analewa namna gani, hataki kuzungumzia. So one thing I think we should really come out openly and talk about it. So before we say about the rehabilitation, let every family take responsibility. Speak about this thing, not condemning, but showing that there is hope. If we can be able to stay in an environment ambayo hatutaweza kuwa tunahusika na mambo ya pombe, everyone are willing to quit. People are willing to quit, and I want to tell you, really, youths are looking for solution, but no one who is addressing in the right way. That is where the problem is. Yes.
So the problem is actually in addressing.
It's until we come to that senses and say, what can we do as a family, as a society? Are we going to address things as condemning them, or we are helping them to come out? And if we take that message, people, I'm telling you, people are willing to quit. Hakuna mtu ambaye anataka kuwa mlevi. Even mlevi mwenye analala kwa mtaro. Ukiamusha na ulize, wewe unataka kuacha pombe, anasema nimejaribu sana leo nimeshindwa.
So it means it's a struggle.
The desire is there.
So it's just the same way like ni kitu imemlemea so umsaidie.
The desire is there. But now how to is the one where the problem is.
Okay.
And that is why I'm saying it is good for us all this as we are sharing this hope to the people, it's good to know tutaanza namna gani ndio tuweze kusaidia watu yetu. Yes.
Okay. And okay, maybe even before I come back now to, because you've actually introduced a very new dimension to this particular conversation, I'll be going back to George, because somehow then you both agree that inafaa pia mimi mwenyewe niyo nimekubali that I really want to go to rehab. So that does it mean that kuna wale watu ambao labda I've seen families do this, labda the person actually is okay willing but not willing to go to the rehab, and I've seen that push and pull and all that. Does it mean that I must make a personal decision before actually being taken there, or naweza enda tu rehab pia na niweze kusaidika? What do you think, George?
Well, as Reverend has said it, okay, I personally from experience what I've seen is you have to make that decision to quit, but it is greatly determined by the society around you, how they approach you. Because you see, as we've said, an addict has a defense mechanism. Actually, an addict is a person with two personalities. Utasikia wanasema asipokunywa pombe ni mtu mzuri sana, lakini akilewa anakuwa mbaya. Kwa sababu gani? Akona two personalities. Like during my time, there was George the sober one, there was George the mlevi. Sawa? So George asiyekunywa ni mzuri, lakini akilewa anakuwa makaratasi. So now you have to first and foremost convince this person and make him accept that he needs to go to rehab and get help. you need to show him that rehab si jela, si kifungo, si punishment, but ni usaidizi unataka kumpatia. Na the reason why rehabs are recommended is because you're given a conducive environment. Change for the human mind is not easy. But there are restrictions that have to be kept. I think Reverend, you'll agree with me. Yale mazingira. Like I remember the rehab we went to, the walls, man, because kama zile za jela, na juzi kuna electric fence. Because mtu anakaa ndani, withdrawal inamsumbua, the urge, paka is willing to scale the nini. So you need to be prepared psychologically. And as Pastor said, show him love. There is hope. There's a possibility in living a life without a drink.
Okay.
There's a possibility in living the life without a drug. But it takes time, as Pastor said. It takes time. You have to, inakuwa ni kama wimbo, but unatafuta ile lugha unatumia ambayo you will be able to scale the defense mechanism and get to him. Because there's a very tight defense mechanism around an addict. And that's where most people, because actually I think the society also needs to learn that. When I'm talking to you, like right now when I talk to Reverend, you're sober. Reverend anapik zile vitu namwambia because hakuna defense mechanism hapa ni reality. Lakini the time I'm addressing an addict, first and foremost you have to learn that there is a wall.
Akona answers already ziko.
Akona defense mechanism ambayo iko on high alert. Kwanza akijua wakati unakuja kuingiliana na starehe yake, it's like it goes on high alert. So it is all systems are go.
Very sensitive.
All systems are go. Akona all artillery yake iko ready to go. Ukichupa hii swali akona jibu. Ukichupa hii swali akona jibu. Kwa sababu gani? Anataka kusafeguard ile starehe. And the mind is already tuned to the fact that for him to be happy, for him to have peace, lazima apige drink. Mtu ambaye anakuja kwake ambaye apigi drink, huyo ni adui. Mtu ambaye anakuja kwake ambaye atumii drug yake, huyo ni adui. Mtu anakuja kwake akosoba ni adui. So you have to, as Reverend has said, you have to talk to them, show them that there's a possibility in living a good life. And also again, we also take care. When you're talking to them, you're not telling them that when you stop drinking, life will be easy. Life remains hard. But the good thing with being sober is that you're able to handle situations and cope up with situations in a better way than when you handle situations when you're an addict. Because you see, when you make decisions when you're intoxicated, some of them you live to regret for the rest of your life. But when you're sober, you accept life on life terms because life is not easy. But still people are getting through. Why? It's because of the attitude you have towards life. Like I personally, I believe in one thing. No situation is permanent. So long as you trust in God and you work hard, things will get better.
Okay.
And always, each and every one of us, kila mtu ana wakati wake. Wengine watapata wakiwa wadogo. Wengine paka upitie hizi shambra, hizi disasters. Ule labda unakaribia retirement package na vitu zako zinafunguka. So I think Reverend hapa si hivi. Kila mtu anakuanga na wakati wake. Na ukikuwa sober si kwamba maisha itakuwa rahisi. Kwanza the worst thing is sometimes when you're sober sana huwa zinakuchapa zile reality. Lakini tu wewe unajipa tu moyo unasema tu haizuru. Because sometimes the problem is okay, like the people who relapse, he or she has a problem that anaingia na ile mentality ya kwamba nikiacha kunywa pombe ama nikiacha kutumia drugs maisha itakuwa nywe. Lakini anasahau kwamba ukiacha kunywa pombe si kwamba relax, tena unatia bidii unaendelea kuomba Mungu and you continue working hard. That's when things work out. But the problem sometimes you have, and why it's not advisable normally to force someone into rehabilitation, is because when they go into rehabilitation and it's under forced circumstances, they might go in and have conditions that they set for themselves.
Kuna mtu hapa ananiambia George aongeze sauti kidogo tu, story yake ni tamu.
Okay, I just sijui kama wananipata vizuri. When you go into rehabilitation, like Reverend has said, you have to be prepared. And when you're prepared is that, you see, do not go into rehabilitation don't set conditions for your recovery. Just go in, get the best you can and come out and live life on life terms. When I say live life on life terms, life has ups and downs. There are times we make plans in life. Some plans will work out, some will not work out. When they don't work out, usikasirike, useme because it didn't work out, wacha niregelee kunywa pombe. An example I'll give you, I had when I was going through my rehabilitation, I was the only Christian in the rehab I was in. Because mine ilikuwa imebeba watu wa cocaine, heroin, in Mombasa. You know Mombasa, cocaine, heroin, that is the main thing. Sasa mimi hata alikuwa ananiambia Joji, hata wewe rehab unafanya pombe tu bana. Wewe kula unga mwanangu. Wewe kula unga mwanangu uje.
Ndio ujue vile
But mimi told them mazee wewe ni unga mimi ni pombe lakini tuko kwa nyumba gani? Hii nyumba ni ya mateja. Hii nyumba ni ya mateja. That's the Swahili word for an addict. An addict is a mteja. So sisi tu ni mateja. But you see now I was only Christian, the rest were Muslims and some even walikuwa kwa waji mambo ya Mungu. Wako tu dunia. Some would even tell you, George, sisi tuko garage. Tunapigwa panel beating hapa fresh nini? Reggae form, reggae tena barabara. So hapa sisi kazi ni kukula.
So amekam tu kurelaxisha kiasi si blame sana.
Sasa anakuja pigwe detox, mwili kuwe safi, aregeshe mwili kidogo, atoke nje tena ende apige. So you see that's why as Reverend was saying, you have to be prepared before you get in. And when you get in, be ready to live life on life's terms. Not you come out and have your conditions, because when you have your conditions, as I was saying, I had an example of a friend of mine now. When you were in rehab, that was the second time he was coming in, because the first time he came and did his rehab, he had been promised that akimaliza kazi was an Arab. So alikuwa ameambiwa akimaliza kazi, akimaliza rehab atafutafutia kazi Uarabuni, goes he works there because he has his family there, and life will be good. But unfortunately after rehab, things did not go as they had planned. So he was forced to remain in Kenya and get a job in Kenya, but maisha ya Kenya yakamshinda. So what happens?
Anarudishana kwa drugs.
Sasa tena aliregea with a vengeance, because alipokuwa amejiwekea condition kwamba after rehab mambo itakuwa sawa.
So actually don't set conditions for your rehabilitation. Of course, I'll be inviting Pastor to also give his Reverend to also give his part of the story, or it's part of advice. But then before we go there, Queen she's saying good morning. Wilbert Aaron saying good morning. Good morning to you, Wilbert. There's somebody called Jonah Ruta Yano saying good morning to you. Melanie Dev saying George, and I'm pigia makofi pale. Thank you so much. Queen she, thank you so much for tagging the many people you've tagged. Irene Birgen saying watching from Kapsoya. Thank you so much Irene Birgen. Karibu sana. Dixon Diktaro Tanui. Jambo. Anasema pamoja. Thank you so much for being here with us. There is somebody called Kelvin Otieno. Anasema good morning Kevin. Good morning Kevin. Watching from Eldoret. This is very informative topic. There's somebody also called who I think bado ni Kevin. Anasema good morning. Thank you so much. Kirwa, thank you so much for being here. Anasema Queen she okay, I think it's a conversation going on in the comment section, but thank you so much for being here with us. There's somebody called Kibet Clement saying our environment ndio sumu kwa watoto wetu. Actually our panelists have already even addressed that actually environment also inachangia sana kwa watu kuwa addict. There's somebody called Chip Korir Biogun anasema good morning to you. Good morning to you Chip Korir. Let's actually be involved in this particular conversation. Let's keep talking, let's keep engaging each other, tuweze kuzungumza na tuweze kuhakikisha kwamba tuna participate kwenye conversation ya siku ya leo. Today we just talking about drug addiction. And actually, we are talking about it in terms of how can we battle it. But then, before we even go there, then how do somebody get into it? And actually, our panelists have shared their part of the story. And I'll be going back to Rev Diego. Okay.
Rono.
Rev Rono. So, Reverend Rono, what reasons then do people give for abusing drugs?
Well, you see, most of the people, they say it is peer pressure. Some they say it is because of poverty. So they have a lot of reason, which is not true. That is not actually the root cause. Because I've just mentioned something before I came to this second discussion about what are the reason people gives. You find most people, they say they are poor. Now, just to see here, there's a teacher who is doing a lot of classes in
has
school,
a lot of money, good amount of
money. Then I'm asking, is it because of poor really? Is that what the means there? Or someone say because I'm idle. Is a teacher's idol? Is a doctor's idol? Is a farmer's idol? Is a business person's idol? Then that is no. Then the root cause actually is not all about the poverty, idleness. Is not about kukosa hela. You know, these people work on a hela. Pesa siko.
Jupia ipeani bure hizi drugs, by the way.
It's not for free. But let's look the root cause itself. When you come and see the root cause, you can find the root cause number one, as I've said, is a denial. When someone is in denial, you always look for those defense mechanisms. When I say I'm thinking because of idleness, and then I'm wondering, I'm going to a job from 8 to 5. I don't see maybe there myself being a idol. If I'm saying I'm poor and I'm doing a business within this Eldoret, for example, I'm earning good money, is alcoholism is poverty? Then no. There is something more than that. And I think people, they need to address that one so clearly so that people understand this is a problem that is beyond all this what we are giving as reasons. And I can go with them defense mechanism, the way my brother George has said. This alcoholism, they have a lot of defense mechanism. They are ready any time to give the reason why they drink.
Okay, and now that actually leads us directly into treatment then, because if the reasons they are giving is not actually the reasons why they are drinking, then what do you think about it? Now take us through what happens actually at a rehab, and what do you teach them?
Well, at the rehab, you know, a rehab is a long process to explain today. Maybe I can just tell the basic. When someone has arrived there from day one, you know, when somebody has been done the intervention and somebody is prepared, like my brother George, who was prepared, and you find him in the following day was ready by himself, he has packed everything, want to go. So once you get there, there is one thing that a person has to accept. I am powerless over alcohol and drug abuse. That my life had become unmanageable. That is the first thing that someone has to begin. It has to begin from that point. Without taking the responsibility to own this problem, even the rest is not going to work for that person. I can tell you and I can testify that that is what it made me to become who I am today. Because when I came into my senses and I say, yes, this thing I've really tried so much, and I really wanted to quit, but it has become so a problem in my life. So when I took a step and say, now I've realized I'm powerless. I've never managed even my finances. The money that I've been handling, even if it was much or the little I had, anytime you get the money, priority number one, I have to
get something
so that I can plan the rest. You know, alcoholism, let me tell you, my brother, you were living, work very smart. Couple of days and they have no money. Tell them to give you the plan. And you think this person is going to buy this animal today. Because you see, alcoholism, iko na money, iko na blanketi, iko na kila kitu. Mtu akiendesha gari apite mbele yako, maybe I can buy this. You know, that's not a big deal to buy a V8. Ndani ya pumbi iko V8. Unaona kila kitu is possible. So when you bring that plan and you are saying, I wanted to make this, I'm going to buy this, then once you take the first sip, then everything is done. You become rich. You know what I mean when I say you become rich? Being rich is that when I'm here and I've got dough, unaelewa? So mimi naona nyinyi wote ni maskini.
Yani nikisha kunywa sina
that sip alone will tell me these people are really poor.
And it will convince you.
And I can tell you can have, everyone can have.
So does that inform actually why wale hivyo wanatupeaga advice mbaya sana? Okay.
Now, you asking me about what do you do in rehab. Now, we admit somebody from day one, and we give him time of withdrawal. You know, withdrawal is another tough journey before you begin a program. Alcoholism is between 5 to 10 days. That person is now ready now to take the program. So during the time of withdrawal, that is the time that this person needs a lot of care, a lot of a counselor to be closer to this person, to give advice, to make sure he takes more water. If he's doing the natural detoxification, unless he's doing the in a medic way, but mostly we encourage people to do naturally. Because that is when you can feel the pain, which is good to feel the pain when you are quitting alcoholism. Without you feeling the pain, that is the fear. You know, people, they fear to go to rehab because they are fearing that, hey, to stay 5 days without. No, this one itakuwa mwenda simu. Unaelewa? So that is the area ambayo mtu huyo anatakana kukua na kutunza, kusungumusia kwa upendo, kupea more hope. So that ile desire ambayo amekuwa ndani ya maisha yake aanze kudevelop pole pole. So that is the stage number one before you go further stages. Now once you do that, now you come and teach them about the effects. Vile matara ya pombe imelemea hawa. Na hiyo ni maneno mingi sitaweza kueleza kwa sababu 1 hour is not going to be enough for us. But let me just give you the basic, because even me, that's how I came out from this addiction. Because when I accepted that I'm powerless and helpless and useless, anything that can help with less, that was me. Now what could I do so that I can develop being manageable? Is now I accepted to come to be guided with somebody, with someone who is capable to guide me, who is a spiritual person who could be really guide me to know the word of the Lord. And you are not forcing alcoholism to get saved in the first day. We don't come and say, today you need to get saved. It's a process. It's a process. So people get help through that. They introduce them about the effects of alcohol, and then later on now they go for a program how to overcome these effects. Because that's now what I really wanataka sana kujua hapo. Nitatoka sasa namna gani, and then mambo ya relapse. Tukimaliza hiyo tunaanza kuteach them about the relapse, because relapse is very real. Yeah, very real. Unaelewa, relapse is a very real thing, na ina happen because somebody kama hajajua kuhandle friends, kama hajajua kufanya mambo ya financial management, how are you going to, what is the expectation the community and the family they have from you? So we prepare this person to know that this relapse is a real thing. And relapse, you need people surrounding you who are going to give you hope, through prayer, through Bible studies, and so on. So actually somebody has to change from inside out. Because those things I was telling you, what is in the heart of the person is making the person become addict, So that's how I can share for now about the rehab. But rehab is a very good place. Only that when someone has not come to rehab, anafikiria na area ya wandasimu. Hiyo ndio kitu imedevelop kwa mind ya watu. But I want to tell people, going to rehab is not you are not going to jail. You are going to deal with you have an environment where you can come into your own senses. You can deal with the problem that is within you. So you've been given that chance to stand somewhere or to stay in a silent place where you can now make the reality to happen in you.
Okay, you can make the reality to happen in you. Sampling a few comments, then we go back to George. George, atuambia, how was his experience actually in the rehab, and also how was it immediately left there? So let me just read a few comments, then we come there. Okay, these are conversations that is making a lot of conversation within itself. So there is Dixon Magut saying, good guest here. Thank you so much. There is somebody called Bishop Owen saying he's actually tuned in from West Indies. He's locked in. Thank you so much, Bishop Owen. There is somebody called Dixon Magut. Anasema tuko wengi. I think I'm losing that. Tuko wengi kwa comments. Naona vile watu ni. No. Actually, if you're not seeing everyone else, you can just log out. Then uingie ndani, you'll notice that mko wengi ndani. Usihisi ni kama uko peke yako. You'll start seeing those comments that I'm reading. There is somebody also called now? Ledama Thomas saying good morning. There is Ruben K. Kibirech saying drug addiction and substance use are breaking families and destroying lives of our children. So sad. There's somebody called Joram Kipruta saying thanks for this program. Because many youth out here are currently in darkness. Totally. God bless Very Nice Media community. Thank you so much. Chage Eliud saying following. Thank you so much. Pauline Cherop saying very true. Addiction is very dangerous. Thank you so much. Engineer Caleb Tanui saying thanks Kalia for this interesting topic today, sharing such the negative physical and mental effects. The use of alcohol, effects of the use of alcohol and other drugs are well documented. Use of these drugs may cause blackout, poisoning, overdose, death, physical and psychological dependence, damage to vital organs such as the brain, the heart, liver, inability to learn and remember information, and psychological problems including depression, psychosis, and severe anxiety. Thank you so much for that explanation, Engineer Caleb Tanui. Thank you so much for also always being on the Morning Glory Show. There's somebody called Dixon Magut saying, Ngetich, leo ni siku yako mkuu, fanya ile kitu. Thank you so much. Amusha as many people as possible. By the way, kama uko na rafiki ambaye hajafika hapa, muamushe, tag them, tell them there is a conversation going on and you'd want them to participate in it. Thank you so much, Dixon, for the good work you're doing today. Chebleting Birir saying, muache pombe, you can save a lot. Okay, thank you so much. That was kind of harsh, but then at least. Ashasema. There's somebody else called Priska Saina saying, thank you so much, Priska. I'm seeing Priska Saina is already tuned in. I'm seeing Dixon, not Dixon, but Tirop Felix Kiprotich. Thank you so much for being here with us. Bethwell Kiplagat Bet saying, let's figure out the solution to this menace. We'll come to the solution bit of it. But then before we come there, then let me talk to George. George, hebu tuambie, how was the experience for you now in the rehab? Kulikuwa aje kule? Maybe day 1 ulisikia aje, day 2 tukiendaga hiyo.
Hiyo maisha vile Reva amesema. Si rahisi bana. No, actually is one thing we normally used to experience. Unajua kuna target ulikuwa unajiwekea vile utakunywa kwa siku kulingana na mfuko. So on days when the pocket was not very good. Hapo ulikuwa unasukuma kama ka quarter ama ka half na maji, alafu una top up na bia 2 ndio ikuhit, because without that at night you would not be able to sleep. Ama utalala ifika saa 8 usingizi imeisha, sasa unaanza tu kukaa tu.
So actually, okay, now you see so many people asking this question. So pia ukienda rehab si ati unaiacha mara moja.
No, when you go to the rehab, like Reva said, the first 5 days, and that pain actually is crucial, because that pain it helps you. Or it gives you a reason not to go back. It gives you a reason not to go back. And as Reva said again, you see, you have to be prepared. And actually, healing process is also spiritual. You see, when you're an addict, you're living on self-will, because you do what the body wants, not what God wants you to do. You see, but when you live, when you try to live, when you decide to live a sober life, you have to live life on life's terms and not run on self-will, but God's will. That's why, I may always pray for the knowledge of God's will and the power to carry it out, because sometimes it's not easy, because there are temptations. And also, as Reva said, you're given life skills, because one thing, wewe ndio unabadilika, mazingira yabadiliki. Because like right now, if I'm to count the brands that came out from the time I stopped drinking to that, there are so many. If I'm to count every day, kila kukicha, joints are being opened up. And the unfortunate thing, unazipita tu kienda nyumbani. You see, the environment doesn't change. The environment doesn't change. It's you who has to change, and it is you who has to learn how to live in that environment. Because the moment you stop drinking, that doesn't mean that the bars will stop operating. You also have to make, and there are also some very difficult and painful decisions that you have to make. Because now your friends have to change. Because as Reva said, you'll come out of rehab and go back to society. There are those ones who will be happy for you. Nani ameacha pombe, that is good. Nani ameacha drugs, that is good. They will encourage you. Kuna wale tu visirani tu, yani wachochezi. Wanataka tu kufuta chini.
Eti George ulisema uliwacha, hebu acha tuweke bia mbele yake tuone.
But you see, like now, like for me, actually I had that ultimate test. And I just got out of rehab. Cousin of mine was getting married. And we were very close. So I go niende ama nisiende. Like, George, kuja tuende para sherehe. But I knew nikienda hii function pombe itakuwa. And mazi, I'm just like 1 week old after rehab. Chances are nitakuwa tempted. I just had to make it was painful. But nikamwambia tu mazi, niruhusu tu. Unajua ile shida nimekuwa nayo na nimewacha. Wewe acha na tuna hii kitu. And she supported. Akaniambia, George, that is good. But I had to,
you have to actually discipline yourself.
Yeah, there are some decisions that you'll make that are not easy, but you have to make them to safeguard. Because I think Reverend akwambia lakini recovery is a selfish program. First priority is my well-being. First priority is my well-being. Not that I'm selfish at all, but ninachunga your gift. As I told you, I have to guard it closely. And that's why you'll see 12 years down the line, Reverend has how many years?
It's more than 30.
30 years. But he's still a recovering addict. He's never healed. Because one, we accepted we will never be able to control the use of alcohol. And the other thing is, that devil, I told you, we are two personalities. Huyo mmoja tumemfunga kwa keji. Tukifanya tu blanda to relax kidogo atoke. Tunarejea pale. So we always remind ourselves all that tunakumbuka, but there are lessons that we learned, and as we share, we are able to safeguard and nurture our recovery. So it is not easy, it's not hard, it's all about the mindset. And as I said before, it's a disease in between our ears. It just has to do with how we look at life. We have to change how we look at life, our attitudes towards life, how we perceive life. You see, because as I said, there are no guarantees.
Yes.
There are only possibilities in real
There are no
life.
guarantees.
No guarantees,
There are only possibilities.
And
Okay.
these possibilities are only achieved if you work the program. You just don't say I've stopped and you sit there and wait for miracles to happen.
Exactly.
No. The miracles hapa kunanga cha bahati na you have to work it for you to make it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Now taking us to the next part of the conversation, but then before we go there, remember we're coming live from Dawi Afrique Photography. Dawi Afrique Photography is situated in Eldoret, a place called Zion Mall. So if you're in Eldoret and you're looking for a photography studio, remember to walk into Zion Mall, that is basement A, and you'll be able to take those nice photos. Remember, these are a very family-friendly photography studio in town. But then also beyond that, then you may have your own events and would want somebody to come there and document them. Dawi Afrique Photography will be there for you. And actually, we are situated in Eldoret, but then that doesn't mean that you cannot get coverage beyond Eldoret. Even if you are in Mombasa, Kisumu, or any other part of the country, make sure that you talk to Dawi Afrique Photography. And now going to the next part of this conversation is now about the society. We want actually to look at our society at the moment. And my first question will actually be going to Reverend, then I'll go back to George. Rev, has the society accepted the fact that drug addiction and substance abuse is actually a problem, in your own opinion, from the addicts you get, from the patients you get at the rehabilitation centers? Do you think that the society has come to the reality that we have a problem?
Well, I think most of I can say yes, but the percentage is not exactly what is needed to be done. And that can tell you that we really need to do a lot of sensitization, to tell people to go around and to, especially we need to use churches. What I wanted to say, for us to make our society to understand this problem, I always believe in the ministers of the gospel. Because these are people who are handling a lot of people in various places. Now, for the society, they have not really gotten well this information. They know they have the problem, but they have not gotten to know if the problem is there, how are we going to handle this problem? And I think that needs a lot of intervention. People to go and tell them this is the way out of this problem. Maybe to do the meetings from the university colleges, and as I've said, even the colleges, the high school, the primary school. And if the society got this information, I think we can be able to help many people. Because you find the people who come to rehab sometimes say, I've been looking for rehab for years and I never knew even the rehab is here. And we have a lot of programs. You know, even there's some program that I also wanted to encourage pastors to use even these programs, even in their church. Do you know that most of the people they drink, they are sitting in the church? They are there. You know, people are very good. They look so nice in the morning, but after the church, people to enjoy something else different from another corner. So how are we going to help our societies? Is unless the ministers who preach the gospel every day can really get this information. And that's what I can tell you, because it's answer the question. It's a question. Watu wanahitaji kujua. Watu kuja rehabilitation. Wengi wanasakwite even without getting to the rehab through the intervention. Through reaching them from the outreaches, like what we do at the Haven Recovery Center. We sometimes go for a week to go to a village. For 1 week, we are not going to look for members ya kanisa. Our pastor wako na pastor yao. I take the people like my brother George, like 10 people, tunafamia kijiji moja. Now by the time of the end of that meeting, tutakuwa tumefikia whatever zaidi ya 300 plus. Kueleza this message that there is hope. So you see, when we go to a village, we're not going to look for a Christian. We are going to look for addicts. We are going to their area of the drink, their homes, to visit them and tell them, brothers, there is hope here.
And now that you've said that, actually somebody has texted in something very interesting here. They've said that the problem with church is that most people condemn addicts and drug and alcohol and
drugs abuse.
I'm not okay. The grammar is something else there, but then I'll just maybe paraphrase it. That actually they condemn us too much, and that thing of saying it is a sin. Actually, I'm in quotes. It is a sin is what is making most people not want to get the knowledge from the church.
Yeah.
So this person actually saying that many people in the church want to condemn. So when a drunkard comes into church, then they don't feel at home because actually there is already that perception of these guys are sinners. So maybe how do you feel? Maybe you'll answer it, then also I'll ask George. Maybe church I feel labda kuna mtu anakuangalia vibaya kwa sababu wewe ni addict ama kitu kama hiyo.
Let me just give you a very practical example. When I stopped alcohol, the first week I went to church. You know, no one has really invited me to those days, not like nowadays. Actually, I'm seeing there's a lot of change. I went to a church and everyone was like, huyu ni nani amefika hapa leo? Na unajua nimeenda kwa ile village ambayo nimekuwa nikilewa. Then wakati najaribu kupeana mkono wangu nisalamia, watu walikuwa wanasalamia ni kama chisi imefika. Unaelewa bila nakusalamia na kupasalamia na kitole tu hapo si mkono.
Anakupea vidole kidogo.
And that is why these addicts, they think that they are really being condemned. Hakuna ile kitu watu ambao wanazungumzia kwamba this thing is okay. You know, we need to tell people it's okay. It's something that is mtu anaingia lakini you can still come out. So, and I think that's where the pastors really need to understand this message. The pastors has to understand this message. Because the best way of helping the society is the pastor to understand the message. That's my cry to ministers.
Okay.
Not to condemn them. These people are very good. Let me tell you, alcoholics are very good. They wako na upendo ndugu yangu ambao washirika wa kuanga.
Unasikia kama mwenyewe amesema wale wako na upendo inashinda. Wako na upendo inashinda. And actually, this is one of the reasons people usually use to abuse alcohol. Watu wasemanga like aida haja niende kanisa bali kuna chuki. Na kuna bali tunapendana.
Tunapendana tunakunywa kikombe moja tunaenjoy. Unaenda mambo kama hiyo. These people wako na ile love na ujue kuna kitu nilesha and I think George can agree. Sijaona mwizi mwenye anaiba kitu mbaya. When I say alcoholism is a thief, anaiba kitu ambayo ni so precious. You see these people ambao wamelewa, they have so potential. Ulisa kwa family, I've done that one research. Niliuliza family out of 5 children ambao uko nayo. Wewe unasemaje kwa huyu mlevi? Mama na baba akasema kama si pombe, this is the best son kwa hiyo nyumba. Ambayo kama si pombe tungetegemea. Lakini ndio nakuambia nini? This man ambaye ameipiwa ni mtu wa maana sana ambaye ingeleta change in the family. These people ambaye wanaitwa addicts and alcoholism, they are the best people in the society. And that's why when they change, they mean.
Wow. Okay, let me go to George. George, first of all, have you ever felt like you being discriminated maybe in church, especially after umeacha pombe? Did you ever feel like they were discriminating you? Then also, what do you think about this thing that somebody has said that actually the problem is now calling alcoholism sin? That is where the problem comes in.
In some societies, you find them, they believe in the fact that mtu akiwa mlevi wa pombe ama madawa utasikia amerogwa huyu, you know, witchcraft, umepoteza mwelekeo wa maisha, is useless. But to echo what Reverend has said, but they unaona watu wanaokunywa pombe na watumia madawa wako na akili nyingi kushinda wale ambao wako sober. Trust me, I echo that. We addicts are good people. It's just that they've lost track. They've lost track. But if you just take some time and bring them back on track, these are the best people. They're the productive people you ever get in society. They are brilliant.
So brilliant.
They could be brilliant in books. Because you know, one thing, or one law that I believe in life, each and every one of us has a purpose in this life. Each and every one of us has a purpose. Hakuna mtu aliye useless. Kila mtu akuna sababu ya kuwa katika dunia hii. Because life is like a jigsaw puzzle, and you are each pieces of the jigsaw puzzle. See, like Reva said, you go to a family, nakwambia, huyu kama si pombe ndio mtu mzuri kabisa. Because even I remember there's this mzee wawili in the rehab. He was close to 60 years, man. Guy had no formal education. He was a Swahili man. But that guy could cook. He was a very good chef. Actually, you know, like the life skills in the rehab we get, you know, used to cook for yourself. No one cooks for you. So you used to have tons cooking. Ile siku yale kwa anapika chakula, my friend.
Everyone would enjoy the food.
And in an addict. So, hakuna mtu ako useless katika maisha. But the society has to learn that you have, just like the way God gives each and every one of us a second chance so long as you repent. Also be ready and willing to give a fellow human being a chance to repent. give him a chance to prove himself.
Yeah.
And you see the problem is watu wasemanga huyu ni mlevi. Huyu ana pretend. Hiyo tayari vile unavunja mtu moyo. For someone who's not mtu ambaye haja, because you know we all react to issues differently. Kuna mwingine ataambiwa vile na give up. Aachane na. Kuna mwingine ataambiwa vile but he'll still forge forward. So the society should be out there willing and ready to help people who want to change. Because you see, this person, as I've said, he's gone, he's done his part, he's been trained, he's been given life support skills, but he comes out to the environment is the same. But the people surrounding him are the ones who can also play a role in helping him on his journey in recovery. And helping him out, supporting him, encouraging him that is the best decision he made for his life. And it is possible. And you'll find that ataendelea. Lakini ukitoka utoke rehab and you find yourself in a harsh environment, if you're not careful and if you're not strong, you can easily relapse. Yeah, so society also has a part to play.
Society has a part to play.
A very big role to play. Because once you've taken him to rehab, si kwamba akitoka, that's it. He still has to work. But he will work and it will be possible for him if you provide a supportive and conducive environment. Because kitu moja mtu kama ametoka rehab, mtu huyu ataki majaribio. If there are, you know, in life, kuna zile pressures that come in naturally that are beyond human control. And there are those pressures that people surrounding you can create. Like one is demanding things from you that they very well know that you're not in a position to offer. Yeah, because maybe you've just been out, maybe you've not been working. You don't have the money. But now you find someone demanding money from you, can't. You know, that one already tired, that can be a trigger, it can push you to go and relapse. So society has a role to play. And also, as a Reverend has said, the churches have a very nice platform. And actually the message that they should strive in sending out is that there's a life. There's a life or there's help for people who are suffering from addiction. Because, yes, you might be sitting in church. All the people in church are sober. But each and everyone there has a loved one who's battling it out. So the church can be one of the best platforms to send the message.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much for that. I'm telling you, this is a very interesting conversation. Both Rev and George actually agreeing that the church, as much as they are the ones who you that for those who are engaging the show, we have a cake for you. Remember, at the end of this particular broadcast, I'll be giving somebody a cake courtesy of Red Royal Cake House. And as we go to the last quarter of this particular broadcast, there is okay, we've talked about society. We've talked about the person. Of course, a bigger part of our environment is controlled by the government. I know that we may not make decisions for the government, but then what do you think in your own position? One, as somebody who's been recovering from addiction, and two, as also somebody who owns a rehabilitation center. What do you think the government has done or has not done in terms of making sure that actually we have a better environment to fight drug abuse?
Well, I think for the government at large, they really need the same information. Reason number one, you see there's a lot of employees who works in the government or different departments in the government, and they are addicts. And I've been so much defending the people who are the workers. You know, being going to some medias na kuambia watu ya kwamba tafadhali musifute mtu kabla hajasaidiwa kupewa second chance in life. And since I think 2007, I was really so tough when I was carrying this information. And I went through the government agencies and talk about this thing. And I told them I wanted to give a very good opinion that those people who are really working in the government, please give them the sentence before you terminate him from his work. And because it's a disease, you know, it's a disease like any other disease. And I am happy right now with the government, since I think 2012, I think they declared that alcoholism is a disease. That was 2012. Now they have accepted that this thing is a problem. Now the government have got wamekuwa na hiyo nia ya kusaidia watu yao kwa sababu wamekubali it's a disease. And nowadays they don't terminate somebody, they give even a teacher, if somebody works in a different, they give them a chance to go for rehab to just make his life right. And it's a correctional center. So and they come for 3 months and then they go. The government are really coming up. I don't blame. But now you come to the villages. When you go to the villages, there's a lot of alcohol brews, and there's still a lot of problems. I think the government still need to put a lot of effort, to help the people. That's what I can say for now. They need to put a lot of effort.
Okay, we have agencies like Nakada. I think we also have the police doing a lot in the villages. What do you think is the missing link? Because actually, funny enough, as much as we have all these commissions that are trying to manage drug abuse, at the end of it all, people still abuse drugs. Where actually is the missing link?
Number one, my brother, you need to understand what kind of drugs is in the village. Some drugs, mostly in the community, are the local brews. And there is drugs like marijuana ambayo sasa imeanza kujacha, hata madawa ya kulevya imekuja. But you find sometimes police really they do a very good job, which is very commendable. Waende wamwake pombe. Lakini it's not a solution. People need alternative. Because a brewer anatafuta pesa. It's not the way mwenyewe kunywe, anaunda because he want to get money. So what I want to appeal even to the like police and the government, like the county government, it is good to come up with an alternative to give these people a way of getting money. People, they need money, but they know how to get money. It's only they think when we sell this marijuana, tunauza hii. So we bring these people, we show them if you quit, if you leave this one, tunasemanga ukanyang'anya mtoto wembe unampa nini? Yes, ndio asijeze naye. So tutafute kijiti ya kupea hawa wacheze nayo ili wasiendelee kutengeneza pombe. So I think the government need to put a lot of effort in terms of putting the money, even like this hii money ya hasala kama ikikuja mzuri itasaidia watu yetu. Yes.
Okay. Actually, you're actually just making it in a very simple manner that these people, many of the people who sell drugs and many of the people who even I would say manufacture the local brews, don't drink it. They are doing it as an economic activity, which means actually that these people are doing it because they are looking for a living. So maybe one approach that the government can use actually is trying to talk to these people in terms of making sure that at the end of it all, they are able to get a living. I'll be coming to you, George. George, wewe sasa ni mtu mai tumia. Na sasa saizi uko hapa nje. Wewe unafeel ni nini gava I do in terms of making sure that actually we have an environment that people do not abuse drugs more? Because as I said, it is funny that we have a lot of effort by government, and actually every time you look at the statistics, I'm sorry that we may not get time to share the statistics so much, but then the statistics show that at the age of 4 already children are experimenting on drugs. A very good percentage of Kenyan human resource right now is not productive due to the fact that they are abusing drugs. Then what do you think is actually the problem? Where is the missing link?
So actually the missing, just as the Reverend said, you see, they normally say the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. But niulize, watu wakikunywa pombe sahi, wabugia kwa pombe, madawa ya kulevya, kesho hakuna leaders. And I feel like the church, the government would also encourage the church to use the platforms, and the government itself can even use the education system. You see, like from an early age, if it can be imprinted into the child's mind that drugs are there, but if you use them, you are diminishing your chances of living a good life. If that thing is imprinted in our lives at an early stage and we grow up with that notion, it might be of help. Because you see, we are not educating the masses. Wewe ukipata pombe, like Reverend has said, unamwaga. But kumwaga si suluhu. Juu mtu ataamka tena apike nyingine. Give this person an alternative source of income. Come up with projects that will better their lives. They stop cooking alcohol or stop selling bang to educate their children. Because most of them, when they're arrested, they justify that they're doing it to get money to feed their children or take their children to school. So you need to come up with that. You need to show them that there are better ways of generating revenue than this method, which is you're generating revenue for yourself, but you're destroying a family. teach the society on the effects of drugs. See, like now, if the government can take it up upon itself and incorporate it in the syllabuses that we have today in primary, actually from an early stage, as early as when someone is in maybe grade 1, grade 2, anze kufunzwa kwamba drugs, they are not a solution to anything. Rather, they destroy your life, and if you're found in possession or using them, you can be jailed. You know, instill it in children when they're young, so that they grow up knowing. They grow up knowing the repercussions of using drugs. And also, now the ones who have grown up now, can the government educate them that in case you feel like kitu imekuletea shida, there are these avenues that you can go to, where you'll get help. So you see, so long as the masses are informed, they're informed, and it's done like a constant reminder. It will get imprinted in their minds, and they live knowing that drugs are not a solution. And as a Reverend also said, also with the employers currently, in the first world countries, it's common. You have a drinking problem already within the organization. You have, if it's not within, they allocate you, they get you help. They see a psychiatrist, or you go to a rehab, and you just given some days off or some months off. You go treat yourself, come back. You are given a chance to rehabilitate yourself and come back to work. But in Kenya, ukipatikana unakunywa sana, kalamu, umeenda. You know, as Reva said, you need to understand that this is a disease, and this person can be helped. You see, do not punish by firing, because by firing, in fact, you're not helping, you're worsening the problem. Because now he'll go and drink more. But you see, if you tell him, okay, sawa, wewe ujue, utaenda labda miezi 3, maybe he'll pay you half month's salary, uingie rehab. Utakuwa umemsaidia, because he'll have lost half his salary, but he gains the help from there.
And at the end of it all, actually, they'll appreciate the process.
Exactly, they'll appreciate the process. So that's what most employers need to embrace. Do not fire, help.
Yeah, right.
Give him a chance. Maybe now if you give him a chance once or twice and asaidiki, sasa hapo tutamwambia ndugu, we cannot be given you a chance, but we are forced to let go of you. But don't just fire someone without even getting to know what's making him drink. Because sometimes we drink not, see what, but the majority of the people you'll find drinking in today's world, and I think Rev will agree with me, wengi ni shida tu ndo anakunywa pombe. He's running away from reality.
Right, exactly.
Because tell me, how can you go and drink 5,000, 10,000 in a month? 10,000 within one night. Na labda mshahara yako ni 40,000 or 30,000. Doesn't make any sense.
So it means this person is actually just running away from reality.
Watu wengi wanaokunywa sahihi, sitakudanganya, hawakunywi raha, wanakunywa kwa sababu ya shida.
Wow.
They are running away from reality.
They are looking for the blanket.
They are running away from reality. Because look at the days, everyone wants to come back on Monday to work with a story to tell ya vile alikunywa. But utakunywa weekend, but Monday to Friday unaishi shida tu. Kazi ni kukula katakata. You can't even afford a decent meal just because that you're safe.
Actually, George, just to interrupt you and add to it.
No, it's a harsh reality. We live and sit with the youth here. Monday atakuja na story mingi, atakwambia vile jana walitembea, Friday alikuwa kwa tamasha, kutoka tamasha kaenda Lobo, kutoka Lobo kaingia King City, kutoka King City underground, name it, TMT, wapi town yote imezunguka. Lakini Monday ukimwambia hata nunua chapati na smoke mkule, hana kitu.
Anatakuwa tumbuza.
Actually, George, umeongea vizuri sana juu. Ni kama unaelewa hii town na kila kitu. Currently in Eldoret, because this is coming live from Eldoret, of course, as much as we have people watching as far as overseas, we have a problem with and this still touches on the government. Do you think there's need to regulate maybe the number of stores that we have for alcohol and all that? Because currently, by the way, clubs zetu zinaanzia hapa Soshani na karibu zinafika Kapsabet. I think Langa saizi imekuwa tu ya clubs zote. What do you think about it?
It's a drinking highway. It's a drinking heaven. You see, first and foremost, actually, there are supposed to be regulations on how you set up establishments. Like you're supposed to have establishments next to learning institutions, schools, colleges, universities, and all that. But unfortunately, in Kenya, money talks. Wana pesa yako au unaanzisha. The licensing is supposed to be regulated. Like right now, just walk from, as you said, from Sosiani up to Langas. Just count when you talk of drinking joints, tunaongea zile kubwa na hizi ndogo. Uncountable. They're uncountable. We are a drinking nation. But there's a time watu walikuwa wanasema the ladies of today, they drink like their fathers. They are no mothers. And funny thing, but they forgot to mention, addiction si wanaume peke yake. Wizi kuna madada wana meza kama wanaume. Mwanamke mnakaa naye.
There's actually a funny clip that was rotating that now women are drinking more than men actually in the current society.
And especially for men, for women, it's risky because once you drink, your guard goes down. So you can easily be raped. People can take advantage of you. So it is not something to be taken lightly.
Of course, I will not be going to the effects because of time. We actually have less than 10 minutes to finish this particular broadcast. I just want to show you the cake. As I've always told you, by the way, the more you engage this particular broadcast, the more you talk to us, the more you engage in the conversation, the better your chances of winning a cake. And right now, I know there's a cake appearing on your screens right now. That cake appearing on your screens right now is the cake that we are giving out today. Remember that today, hii keki imetengezwa tu kwa yule ambaye amezungumza kwa hii conversation, ametag as many friends, and Red Royal Cake House came in to just make sure that whenever you participate in this conversation, you are able to win a cake for yourself, not to actually entice you as I have now Kiingereza imekataa. As I have always said, it is not to entice you, but then actually it is a way of just encouraging you to watch this show and participate and also benefit from the conversations that we usually have. And so today, in the next 7 minutes, I'll be giving out that cake to somebody who's actually engaged the conversation better. But then, as always, I usually tell you one thing, that hakuna siku nimeipea mtu keki mara mbili. So that means that everyone, at the end of it, will get a chance to walk away with a cake. But then today, there'll be somebody who will get it, and then there's somebody who will wait to get tomorrow, or somebody else got it yesterday. Before we come to also the conclusion of this particular broadcast, I just want to assure you that we are coming live from Dawi Afrique Photography. And if you need anything that goes into video production, photography, consider working with Dawi Afrique Photography. If you need family portraits, I am sure Reverend will confirm to you that Dawi Afrique Photography is a very family-friendly studio. We have enough space. Hata kama uko na watoto 13, you can come with them. You can even bring the whole extended family, and our studio can actually accommodate them. So in any situation, you need anything that goes into video, photography, and events, consider working with Dawi Afrique Photography. So I'll be coming back to you, Reverend. Maybe you'll give us your closing remarks, and also maybe mention anything else that you feel actually we may have skipped in the other. You may not, maybe you had intended to say it, but maybe time may not have allowed. So that as also we prepare for the next session, we'd know some of these things. I'm also seeing a lot of questions that are coming in. I'm sure I'll also be able to send you the link. You'll be able to maybe interact with them in the comment section. Karibu.
Thank you so much. I think jambo langu la mwisho ni kushukuru kwanza kwa studio hii ambayo tumekuja leo. Actually, we wanted to comment on what you are doing. And secondly, I pray that the Lord may really increase this Dawi Afrique to reach many people as much as they can. We have a lot of information to share in this platform. If time can be allowed next time, we would like to share more about how to help our people to come out from this addiction, and especially for addicts to deal with that. And I want to thank God that God has given us even this opportunity to share with you. Those people who are struggling and they don't know what to do, please look for us. We have a solution. Don't die soon. There is a way out of your problem. We want to encourage the youth to come out. I am a pastor to alcoholics. If you feel you are a pastor, come to me. I know how to take care of you. Yeah, so please feel free to come where I am. I am there for you. My hands are open to you. My heart is open for you. I will really hold your hand and take you to a better place. Otherwise, I want to wish you all the best. May this end year bring more success to you, the lives of the people who are really in this studio, and even those people who are in the society at large. I bless you all. May God take care of you in Jesus' name.
Okay, thank you so much. And as you give us your closing remarks, Bwana George, somebody has actually made a very interesting comment here, and I would actually want you to give it as part of your response to it. Okay, and then I'm sure there are a few questions. Maybe tunaweza mpatia one more minute before I go to George. Somebody saying, my question is, how do we help someone who tries to leave alcohol but finds himself going back to it again severally? Then there was also one very interesting one from Gogo Small saying, good morning Kalia, kuna watu kuna hii kitu inaitwa snap. Ile anasema ile ya kuweka kwa mapua ile.
Yeah.
Siku hizi vijana huweka kwa mdomo. Hiyo kitu inaua vijana. Anasema mguzie kuhusu hiyo kitu kidogo. I'm sure George will have something to say about that. But then firstly, let's talk about that question. Yes, actually somebody going back into it. I'm sure you already finished it up.
We have a very good program for the people who are trying to come and relapsing. And also at Haven't Recovery Center, we are offering such program. Because you see, as we have been sharing with my brother George here, some people, they don't know how to quit. They are willing to quit, but they don't know how. And that's why I was ending my conversation saying, if you are looking for help or assistance, please look for us.
Okay.
We have a solution. Don't run away. Don't say, let me hide, because I've been trying and going back. We are here to help you. We are here. Our heart is open for you. Come.
Okay, thank you so much. I think that's so powerful. So if you are struggling anyhow, look for Rev.
Pastor to Alcoholics.
Yeah, the pastor to Alcoholics he's actually branded himself so nicely. So look for when you pass your Levi, so guy named Levi, then you can actually look for Reverend Reno. So I think let's now go to George. And George, as you give your closing remarks, somebody has anaongelea ile kitu ilikuwa inawekwa kwa mapua, sasa inawekwa kwa mdomo. Talk about it then, maybe give us your closing remarks.
They call it Ugoro because it can be tobacco, and there's this other one, Kuber in Malaysia.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are put underneath. That's also a drug. But mimi ombi langu tu ni moja. Kwa yule mwenye masikio. Kwa yule mwenye masikio na ametusikiza. Kama unaweza acha, achana nayo. If you're using, start thinking about stopping. If you've not used, baki tu hivyo hivyo. Wakuite mjinga, weka mjinga.
Yeah, right.
Watu wajinga ni wale ambao wanakuambia watumia. Wewe ambao utumia ndio mrefu. And there is no glory. There is no glory. If me and Rev here were to be awarded medals, like me, if I was to be awarded medals on the bottles that I drowned, my friends zingefika chini.
Kabza.
Wow.
Yeah, zingefika chini. But there is no glory in it. And it doesn't make you lesser of a man or lesser of a human being when you don't use drugs. In fact, me, I believe a real man is one who will face his challenges, he'll face life on a sober, clean plate. Yeah. As it comes, vile namchapa yeye yuko tu. That's a real man. But wewe kama ni yule ambaye paka ukunywe ndo uende uongee na dada. Mazee, you are a very weak man. You are a weak man. You are a weak man. A weak man. Umesikia? You are a what? A weak man.
Okay.
Can I repeat again? You are what?
A weak man.
A weak man.
Ever.
You are ever a weak man. But wewe tu unakula tuka ugali kako na kamboga.
Actually, this sounds funny, but it's very serious.
Na kamaziwa na kule kabinti ulikuwa unakataka. Unaenda tu macho makavu na naomba. You are a real man. No, seriously. If you situations on a clean sober plate, you're a real man. But wewe paka tu ukunywe ndo upate gati ya kwenda kutongoza mwanamke. Wewe ni weak. You're weak.
Okay, now bro, just I don't my directors will start looking at me bad because time has gone. But then bro, do you feel okay, this sielewi packaging shida iko wapi? Because najua like right now si kitambo ilikuwa ni wazee walikuwa wanakunywa pombe. But funny enough, saa hizi ni vijana ndio wanakunywa pombe zaidi.
Problem is with us, tunapenda kuiga. We like aping.
Right.
We watch the movies, what the first world countries, the western countries, people drink it. But remember one thing, whatever you watch, those are movies. Ni maji tu imekuwa, ni trungi tu imekuwa pale kwa chupa na kuja. Hakunyi in real life, we like aping, and we've gotten that notion that if for you to be wendo kwa yule msee watu wanatambua lazima kamnyeso. Hapana, unaweza kwa yule msee bila kamnyeso.
Okay.
Unaweza kwa yule msee bila.
My final question, because we're coming to the end. Is there something as responsible drinking?
Hakuna responsible.
Hakuna kitu kama hiyo. Karibu pasi arudi. No.
Unakumuli.
Karibu arudi.
Kindly, if I may say one last parting shot, Kalia, allow me to say this. If you listen to Reverend properly, there's one thing. Sisi tulikubali, we shall never be able to control the drink. There's nothing like responsible drinking. Because ukiangalia vizuri wakati unakunywa kutakuwa tu na blunders zitakuwa zinakufuata. Lakini ka sober there is no blunders. So for those who, as you've said, for those who have ears, wale wametusikiza, achana nayo.
Wachana runa.
And there's hope. We have a reverend here amesema yeye ako tayari kudumia wale.
Amesema yeye ni pastor wa? Thank you so much. What a nice ending. So thank you so much for watching the morning.
Thank you.
Thank you so much also for making time to be on this panel. Thank you so much, gentlemen. And your story, I'm sure, has actually helped somebody out there who is struggling with either drugs or substance abuse. Now, back to you. Thank you also so much for watching the show. I know time is not on our side, so let me just sample a few of your comments. Zile za mwisho mwisho. Queen, she's saying thank you so much everyone for participating. Mildred Sum, thanks all of us who have been the great participants of the show. The show was late. Okay, sawa tu. Dixon Magut, good work. And Sikalia, let's keep helping our generation. It's in the dustbin. Thank you so much. Asla TV saying good morning. Thank you so much, Asla TV, for always being here with us. I think there are so many conversations down there. Bethuel Kiplagat Bet saying a very nice show. I don't know if we have more comments. Salwin Roti saying may God protect especially the youth who do not engage in these drugs. Salmin Soti saying weak. Pia amekubali amesema kama mtu wezi enda hivyo then manze you are weak. Queen C, thank you so much for participating also. Salwin Roti, thank you so much. There is who again? There is Tony Korir, nice topic, thank you so much. There is somebody called Viola Saisi, thank you so much. Damaris Jep Sabule, thank you so much for being here. And everyone, I may not mention all the names. There is Jim Kinja JM. That's what a name. Okay, thank you so much for making time to be on the Morning Glory show. Nyiganeth Skip Master saying thanks for the tag, Queen, to God be the glory. Thank you so much. Juliet Kaino saying good morning. Thank you so much. Jeb Korir Biagon, thank you so much. And all the others who've been there, I'm sure. Manze, thank you so much for always being here with us. But then as I said, somebody else will get a cake tomorrow. Somebody else got it yesterday. Somebody else will get it tomorrow. Today's cake, courtesy of Red Royal, goes to Dixon Magut. So Dixon Magut, thank you so much for engaging the show. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you so much for making sure that actually you engage the broadcast. Thank you so much for bringing a lot of people into the Morning Glory show. And by the way, if you didn't know, Dixon actually alichangia sana kwa kuunda concept ya the Morning Glory show, and he's actually always followed us up. He's always made sure that actually we are making steps each and every day. He's one of those people who tutamaliza show and he'll tell us today you need to adjust this and that. And so thank you so much, Dixon, for always even having interest beyond just watching. With that, I would say thank you so much, everyone. Until we meet tomorrow. Tomorrow we are talking about photography. Actually, we are in the festive season. I think Christmas is associated with a lot of festivities, and so we'll be talking about videography and photography, the art of documenting those events of yours. We'll be having two very interesting conversationist who will just be taking you through the process of actually getting the right person to document your event this festive season. Don't miss tomorrow's show as usual. Friday na kuanga siku ya kujibamba kidogo, haikuangi so official, so tomorrow I expect some more fun. But then today, thank you for the laugh. Asanteni sana, gentlemen. Till next time, my name is MC Kalia. Have a beautiful day, have a beautiful morning, and enjoy.